initial thing is that you have to make the commitment to yourself that you want to heal. And I emphasize that because the thing is that a lot of people say they want to heal, but they really struggle to make the commitment to healing. And they struggle to make the commitment because they are so infatuated by this person. They're still latching onto the fantasy that it could have been. They're really worried about it coming to an end, the fact that they invested so much and it's coming to nothing. They're really anxious about all of these different things, that they don't really want to make that commitment to themselves. But they also may not want to make that commitment to themselves because they don't feel like they're worthy enough to be healed, to be loved truly as they are. They don't believe that it's possible to have a healthy relationship where someone is consistent and really loves them without there being a hidden agenda. They don't really believe that stuff. And so that's something that needs to happen first, is that the person needs to acknowledge, you know what, healing is going to be difficult because it's not easy. I'll be honest, it really isn't easy. You have to acknowledge that it's going to be difficult. There are going to be times when it's uncomfortable, but I am still making the commitment to myself to go through this process. So that's the first thing. Second thing, which I started talking about, is actually somatic. So the trauma is always held in the body. Always, always, always. So even if years pass by and I forget about certain instances, or it's not really present in my mind, the thing is that the body will always respond. And so what will happen is that in future relationships, or even with this same person, whatever it is, you are going to be triggered. You're going to feel really anxious. You're going to feel panicked. You're going to feel attracted to certain people. But all of this stuff happens physiologically, and it's going to pull you back into the trauma bond. So really, there has to be somatic work that's done. So some of the somatic work would be things like, so there's certain just mindful of time, so I won't have time to go into it here, but there's certain exercises where you would have to go into some elements of the trauma, but there's also emotional and physiological processing of the trauma. So it's like, how do you tap into certain trauma points that are in the body, and how do you allow them to be released? And so that needs to be gone through a few times, and that just helps to physiologically relieve the trauma, but also it helps to reduce the cortisol levels, the baseline stress that you're experiencing. Okay, so that's another element. The second element really is around unconscious and subconscious beliefs. So it's around, why is it that you believe you have to work extremely hard to be loved by somebody? Right? And it's really tapping into the core of that. It's tapping into the core of your self-worth. Why is it that you believe that your self-worth is dependent on other people saying that you're worthy? And really exploring that link, as well as getting attracted to other people who show you that you're not worthy. Actually, is this a healthy thing for you? Because 95% of actions, and also 95% of the reason why we get attracted to somebody is subconsciously driven. We're not even that conscious about what's going on. So the other part of the work is really looking at our subconscious thoughts and our subconscious mind. And a lot of that would be childhood work as well, because a lot of these processes come from childhood. One of the other elements as well is processing emotionally what is going on for you. So emotionally, it would be things that are extremely triggering, in the sense that, so the best way I can explain it is, if you have one situation but two different people who are facing the same problem, more often than not, you're going to get two different responses depending on the person, okay? And the reason why there are two different responses is because one person is better equipped emotionally and the other person isn't. And so for one person, they're totally fine with the situation, but then for the other person, it's a trigger. The situation is a trigger for them, an emotional trigger. And so part of the healing work is also figuring out what are emotional triggers and being able to increase your resilience to be able to deal with that.
Okay.
And then one of the other elements as well, so there's two more elements. So one of the other elements really is around attachment-based work, because all of the relationships that we have is based on our attachment styles and patterns. And so part of the attachment-based work is really examining what is it that gets hooked in, what is it about us that gets hooked in with other people, but also developing secure attachments and tolerating the discomfort of boring. And I know that might sound a bit counterintuitive, but it's almost tolerating what it would be like to be consistent and testing that out and really seeing what the responses are, because you're ultimately trying to create a safe base for somebody. Because somebody who's securely attached, if they meet a narcissist or if they meet someone who's inconsistent in their relationship style, they'd be like,
nah,
see you later, like, you know, I'm not in this, I'm out. So it's actually, how do we process and how do we shift your attachment style so we can get to that place of being securely attached? And then the final thing is around examining self-sabotaging behaviors, because we screw ourselves over, right? So our logical brain might see something, but if emotionally that's the thing that's pulling us to do something that's actually harmful for us in the long term, we are going to get pulled into doing self-sabotaging behaviors. So that becomes really painful as well.
okay. Thank you so much for that. And